What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a decent day. I hope that tomorrow falls on a barbed wire fence and bleeds to death, I said yesterday, and today is the day. You know, it didn't totally bleed to death. It didn't. I had an appointment today because I've had this excruciating pain in my right leg as a result of not a bacterial, but a viral infection, and doctors were able to figure it out and give me some medicine that will help, but the pain in the meantime is pretty gross. So I bring that up to say this. I really hoped that today would suck, and I expected it would suck. I started last night thinking that today was going to suck, because I don't like going to the VA hospital. Now, I want to be clear. I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like sour cream. I don't like cottage cheese. I don't like gay sex personally, and I also don't like going to the VA hospital. Do you see how it can be so passive to just sort of throw those things around, right? But I really want you to understand, I don't dislike the VA, going to the VA hospital in the same way that I dislike cottage cheese or different things that I don't like. What it does to somebody who, at least what it does to me, when I go in to that building, to that place, sometimes it can just undo any mental fortitude I have. Any of the coping skills that I had developed. A lot of times just walking into that building can just demoralize you. And at the time I was looking at possibly having to go to the ER. And so that was going to suck, because that sucks a lot. It means you're going to sit there for at least 4 or 5 hours. You're going to be there for a very long time, and you're going to have to tell your story to at least a dozen people, 4 of which won't care, or at least they'll act like they don't. They may care, and it sucks. But if for some reason I lose signal, please know that it's not my fault. So I was talking with the doctor when I got there. I explained to him what happened, explained to him what's hurting. He diagnosed it, gave me the drugs, and then I started talking with his nurse. Because see, when I first walked up, the greeter at the desk there, she was on her Bluetooth, and my buddy Shane was there. What's up, Shane? I appreciate Greg. I appreciate a whole bunch taking the time out of your day to come. Meant a whole. So, to talking to the receptionist. I'm in pain, and the whole time I'm speaking to her, I thought that I was speaking to her, but what I was actually doing was talking to no one, because she was on the telephone on a Bluetooth headset with someone else, and she asked that someone else what their name was, and I thought she was speaking to me, interrupting my long rant about what I needed help with. So then I said, I'm sorry, and she goes and puts her hand up and says nothing, like, hold on, go away. And I was like, okay, that's odd. So then I stepped back, and then she again said, what's your name? What is your name? And she said, excuse me, sir, what's your name? That's what she said. And I didn't know what to do. And Shane was standing there, and all the other guys were standing there. They were like, I don't know. So I looked at her and said, my name is Tim Locklear. And she says, no, looking at me. And then I looked at her and said, I'm sorry, I don't know who you're talking to. I can't tell. You have the Bluetooth thing on. I can't tell who you're speaking to. Is it me or not? Also, ouch! I'm in pain! Semicolon. How can I expedite this process without being a jerk? Is what I wanted to say. But I didn't. Because I'm a reasonable person. So all that happened. She was rude. Didn't apologize. Acted as if I was causing the problems. Etc., etc., etc. Then I sit down or lean on the wall with my friends who were awesome enough to come with me. Greg and Shane and Nick and all these other guys. They're so great. They knew it was going to be crappy for me. They had some free time in the middle of the day while I had an appointment, and they just decided to come by and stop and say hello. Hey, I'll come stand with you, dude, because I know how much this crap sucks. I'll come and enjoy the suck with you. That's a good thing. It's because they're good people. That's why. Anyway. I'm sitting there waiting to be called. I get called back. The lady calls me. I'm running a little bit behind, when I first showed up. But she calls me back, and I go back there, And she said, so did you call ahead that you were going to be late? And I said, yes, ma'am. But by the time that I was able to actually get through, after the third time calling, the lady said that it's so close to my appointment not to worry about it, to just go ahead and come on in. So I did. I didn't say it that way. I'm saying it this way to you for the dramatic pause. But for real, I told her, I was like, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm trying to be late. And she says, well, yeah, you got to make sure you call ahead because these appointments are important. And she said that. And I looked at her and I said, do you feel that there's something I've done that would make you feel like this appointment isn't important to me? And she's like, well, no, but it's just, it's considerate to think about. And I said, ma'am, I do appreciate how hard you guys work. It's difficult. I recognize that. It's a very taxing job. I'm sorry that you have to experience so many rude people who just have no coping skills whatsoever. But please don't, by any means, under any circumstances, mischaracterize or misjudge my amiable, cordial communication style here for somebody who isn't in pain. For somebody who isn't struggling extremely. Don't confuse my niceness for a lack of need for care. Don't do that, because that's a bad thing to do. You shouldn't do that, is what I told her. And so she says, okay, I'm sorry. What are you here for? So I told her what was going on, told her about the excruciating pain in my right leg as a result of what I assumed was my leg falling off, which turns out it's just a simple problem that can be fixed with some pills and some little bit of maybe topical application, and it'll go away, or at least subside and not hurt as much. And I can get back to jujitsuing and hiking and all the normal things I do. But I got to talking with this gal, the one that asked me the kind of the smart mouth question she asked me in the when she was triaging me, taking my vitals and all that. I got to thinking, man, that's a really tough job to do. You've got to deal with jerks and rude people all day long, mentally ill people all day long. I love you, Joe. I appreciate it. I want to get back so bad. Trust me. I've been doing as much reps at home as I can to try to stay a little bit sharp and not dull, but I'm definitely missing you guys at the dojo, and I'm going to come there as soon as I can. For those of you that don't know who I'm talking to, my buddy Joe Daly commented here and just told me to get back to jiu-jitsu, and I completely agree, and I'm going to do that soon. I'm going to do that very soon. But I did some jiu-jitsu today at the hospital with the nursing staff, because I was thinking, man, this has got to suck. This young woman, she's a young woman, she was very aware of what's going on in the world and with me and with life and stuff. She knew what was going on, and I said, how hard is your job? And she actually kind of paused and looked away. And it was sad because you could tell how hard her job was. It was a very difficult job. So as a veteran, from my perspective, it's like, what the hell? Get your ducks in a row. Do it the right way. Blah, blah, blah. But then as a healthcare practitioner, sitting behind that desk dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lunatic maniacs like me, my God, what a patient person. The fact that they don't throat punch me every time they see me is a surprise sometimes. So I go back and forth. I struggle with the idea that I'm broken. And because of that, I often lash out in anger because I am upset about the facts, I'm upset about the fact that I'm disabled. I don't like that. It bothers me. I don't want to be sick. I want to be the same Tim I used to be. Just buck it up, drink a Monster, drink a 5-hour, do some push-ups, eat an Excedrin, stop at the Burger King, grab a double back fat burger, and get to it. Get to working. Todd, I know you would throat punch me. I know you would. That's because you're a good person. If you don't know who I'm talking to, Todd Jocko just commented and he says that he would throat punch me. And I appreciate that. I need that, That's actually one of the good things about Joe Daly is that he likes to throat punch. I'm kidding. He doesn't throat punch people. But he does choke people out, in the submissions and the jiu-jitsuing, right? So anyway, I get back on the course here. I was really not in a good place last night. Last night, I was not doing well. And it's weird because it's moment by moment sometimes. And you can look at a situation and you could say, man, Tim seemed fine an hour ago or 2 hours ago or yesterday, or I just talked to him or whatever. But sometimes it's just like the awareness of the facts overwhelms you. Me. I don't know if it does for you. It does for me. An awareness of the fact that tomorrow, this being yesterday, I was going to have to sit in an emergency room with a bunch of whiny lunatics and then have to do a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do and tell a bunch of people I don't want to tell, a bunch of stuff that I don't want to tell them, sitting in a place I don't want to sit, talking to people I don't want to talk to who act like they don't want to talk to me sometimes. You know how hard it is to tell somebody that you feel like putting a gun in your mouth when they look like they want you to put a gun in your mouth? You know how tough that is, man? You have any idea how hard that is? Now, I've never, thankfully, had the experience of being a healthcare practitioner, having a veteran tell me that, but I have had another veteran tell me that. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe that is crazy. Maybe that is tough. But when another veteran tells me, hey, man, how do you even tell somebody that? I've had some suicidal thoughts this week. How do you deal with that? It's tough. So I guess maybe if there was some sort of moral of this podcast, it's get more comfortable saying that. This week, I thought a lot about not being on the earth. Why? Because the overwhelming truth of my existence and things that are going on just overwhelmed me. But I'm okay now. I'm okay here. I'm all right now, But that's tough to talk about. When you're talking to homies, when you're talking to veterans, you can say that. Last week, man, I felt like just ending it all. It was pretty terrible, but I didn't, and I'm happy now, and I'm stoked to be here. Now that's not me necessarily saying that, although I wouldn't be afraid to say it, but I'm saying why can't more veteran conversations consist of that? Why is it that veterans, myself included, are so afraid to have those kinds of conversations? Now, I'd like to be clear, I'm not suicidal right now. I'm not. I don't feel like hurting myself or anybody else. I don't. I have a lot to live for. I have a lot in my future, and I'm very excited about that future. I'm in buckets of pain, and I do feel depressed, but I'm not suicidal. I'm not. But if I was, why would my ego and pride keep me from telling people that love and care about me that I'm dealing with those things? And why do we have a system treating veterans that exists, that's implemented, that's actually happening, where veterans do not feel like that's something they can say? If you've ever been to a VA appointment and you ask them, if they ask you, do you have any thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else? They ask you in a way that's, would you please hurry up and leave me alone? Or, please say no so we can get on to the next part of this and more important parts of this appointment. Those are the kinds of things they say, right? And it's so insensitive, it's not fair, and it needs to change. And we can change it, veterans, friends. We can change that culture. We can take the culture from being ashamed of feeling fear to embracing it and showing it and talking about it. And I can say now that when I made this graphic yesterday that says, I hope tomorrow falls on a fence and dies, I wasn't in the same place that I am right now. And right now I can look back at it and say, hey, that's a thing. It's like, that sucked, but it's okay now. I'm here now. So, Joe, first of all, I want to comment back to you. You said anytime you need, man, I appreciate you, Joe. I love you, bro. I appreciate the support that you give, man. I know that you're going through your own personal trials and tribulations and issues, man, and the fact that you're willing to reach out and love on me and stuff, that's good stuff. Keep doing that. Todd, man, I like Colorado a whole bunch, and I really appreciate the gesture, the reaching out. It means a whole bunch, dude. There's a lot of people out there that use cannabis as natural medicine, and I believe in its efficacy for the treatment of a variety of different symptoms related to people's time and service. And so, yes, absolutely. Matt, Ashley, Kay, Michael, all you guys that just started listening, Jonathan, you guys are great. And the fact that you guys hear or listen to this stuff, it means a lot, because I'm not just sharing with a public, a group, like a big, giant, huge, I got like 4,000 something friends on Facebook. If you go to my friends list, I got buckets of friends, but not a whole lot of them. Not a whole lot of them really do care. Or if they do, they don't express it, like a lot of my friends do, like you guys. And it means a lot. It means a lot. I definitely appreciate it. So if you guys are in the life of another veteran that's not me, and you know that veteran might be struggling or might not, maybe share this podcast with them. If they're going through the VA, maybe just send this podcast to them so that they can maybe see that it's not impossible and that they're not the only ones going through this. Be comfortable, veteran, talking about suicide. You need to be comfortable with it. Not be comfortable with it as in something that you need it, like it's a regular, normal, okay thing. As in, no, we need to treat it with the same, I guess, respect and disdain as we always do. But at the same time, we need to recognize that it's a real thing. The constant and incessant pressure from somebody who's mentally ill with no coping mechanisms can push them to the point of ending their own existence. They can do that. Those are hard words, but they're true words, and they need to be said by more people than just me. More people need to talk about it, because the more it's talked about, the more light is shed on it, the more coping mechanisms can be developed, and the better we can get about it. That's a fact. For more information about the advocacy work that I do here in the metro area, please visit boristheservicedog.com, which goes to his Facebook page, or please visit Veterans for Natural Rights. Veterans for Natural Rights is an organization, nonprofit, that exists to help veterans gain access to resources, information, management, medicine, content, all kinds of stuff that's going to help the veteran live a better life and adjusting to life after being a soldier or a sailor or Marine. It's important that you guys understand that you're not a disgusting, gross, foul, evil person because you thought about suicide. Thinking about suicide is, as much as it's talked about in the culture nowadays, it's surprising that more people don't talk about it. It's weird. It's like it's talked about, but it's not talked about. So let's stop that. Shane Edwards said it best when he said, remove the stigma. It's true. Remove it. Not many things that I would quote about what Shane says, but that's one of them. Ba-doom-ch. I love you, Shane. I'm kidding. But for real, though. For real. Go to those websites. Share this podcast with a veteran friend. Tell them that they're not alone. Tell them that it's going to be all right. Tell them that you love them. Hug their neck. Show some emotion. Be a real human. Don't be selfish. Thanks, guys.